She said, I have two questions for you, Preeti. Where have you been all this time? And why have you put on so much weight? Shah Rukh would be sitting around on the sets and he would be even sitting on the floor and chatting with a spot boy or a light man or something. And he would even make them feel special. So he has that quality. I mean, definitely I was very stereotyped. And those were the kind of roles I was getting. And in fact, if I would try something different or do something different, people would be shocked or not accept it at all.
Hi Preeti, welcome to Pink Villa. First of all, I have to ask you, where have you been missing? Your fans have been waiting for you. Where have you been?
I get asked this question all the time and I don't know what to say because I have been doing a lot of events and shows and things like that. So I do feel somehow connected to my fans. But yes, I know what they're looking for me is like at least, if not a film, then at least a show on OTT. Or, I do keep in touch with my fans via social media. And I know that they're really, they keep asking me when is soon and when is, I must, there are a lot of scripts and offers, a lot of TV shows, but see, TV is not something I can do with my schedule. I have my own company and, I have my sports league, the Pro Panja League. And, we're also producing our next film. So there's a lot on my plate. So I can't devote time to a full-time daily soap. But yes, an OTT show, once I get a script that's exciting for me, I will surely sign on for it.
Talking about Pro Panja, a lot of people don't even know that you have invested in, in sports and like arm wrestling. That's a very kind of different kind of thing, right? Usually we hear people doing something with cricket or tennis. Or how did you come up with that?
Well, kabaddi was a different kind of thing. I mean, it's so like kabaddi, arm wrestling or panja is something we've all played since we were children. It's just that we didn't know that it was played professionally and that it's been played professionally in India for so many years. We've joined up with a very old and a very famous arm wrestling federation called the Indian Arm Wrestling Federation. And, we've tied up with them. And it's, in fact, some of the events that we've had, even through the lockdown, we managed to have some of the best quality production events. I would say, if I may say so, that, in the world, if you look at the arm wrestling events held around the world, ours had like fabulous production quality compared to that. And, it's something we are very, very excited about, and we plan to take the league forward in a big way.
I'm sure you will. Now let's talk about your journey. You started off with modeling and amazing music videos, which 90s kids like me, they still, watch those videos because it had an element of innocence, which is kind of missing in today's music videos. And then, of course, you shot to fame with Mohabbatein. And I heard that you didn't give any audition for Mohabbatein. Like you got a call and you got selected. Like that's like any aspiring actor's dream that, they get like discovered like that and then they are offered a film.
So, I think my music video with Rajshri Films, I think Choi Mui Si Tum Lagte Ho, acted as like a kind of an audition right. for Adi and Yashji, because I think that is the character that they were looking for, and I think they saw it in the videos.
The thing is that you came in the industry and you had this image of this very innocent girl, and you had those looks to back it up, like, very innocent looking, very like naive and kind of vibes, Do you think because when you started off, just after 1 or 2 years after that, there was this huge thing where actresses were now looked at as like sexy, right? There were this thing like, no, actresses have to be sexy. They were being portrayed like that. Do you think that kind of created problems for you because you were already stereotyped as like an innocent or like a girl next door, pretty girl?
Sure. I mean, definitely I was very stereotyped. And those were the kind of roles I was getting. And in fact, if I would try something different or do something different, people would be shocked or not accept it at all. I mean, Although there was a kiss even in my Rajshri music video. So it actually all depends on the way it's presented and the way how the audience receives the film. But unfortunately there was a lot of typecasting in my case. Yes, I was, but I would still say I did do a lot of films and a lot of fantastic roles with a lot of different directors. I worked with Vikram Bhatt. I worked with in LOC with JP Datta sir, in Aan with Madhur Bhandarkar, and with Govinda and Va Tera Kya Kehna, and ended up doing his production as well. So I have had a fantastic journey. I would say it's still been fantastic. Being able to do a lot of different films, a lot of different roles. Even Jaane Hoga Kya was different for me. Chand Ke Paar Chalo was an exciting role for me. So it's still been a very exciting journey. I've been able to do so many films in so many languages.
Yes, you've done a lot of work in regional cinema.
Telugu has been a great journey for me. Tamru and Narsimha Naidu were some of the biggest hits in Telugu cinema, and so it's been nice. It's been a great journey so far.
Yes, and I have to ask you about your camaraderie with the other Mohabbatein girls, Shamita and Kim. I actually saw both you and Kim in an event a few years ago, and you were clicking each other's pictures, and you were kind of rooting for each other. Pose like this, you're looking good, come here, the light is good there. So I was like, wow, these girls are friends till date. So tell me about your friendship with Kim and Shamita, if you're in touch with her or you're friends with her.
So I know. See, sometimes on a set or anywhere in life, you find a person who you hit it off with completely. And I think Kim and I hit it off on the day we met. Although we are as different as chalk and cheese. I mean, you would find our personalities to be completely different in one way, and actually in one way very alike as well. So, I mean, on the exterior, you would think that we are completely different. But I would say at some level we are very, very alike, and we bonded well. We are friends to date, and we are very much in touch and very much friends. Shamita and I had a great working relationship as such, but we didn't really continue it off after the film so much. I have met Shamita occasionally many times at parties and things like that. So we are very, very cordial with each other. I mean, we'll always have a bond because we've done our first film together. So there'll always be that bond.
Let's jog your memory a bit, and let's talk about your first shot on the sets of Mohabbatein. Now, you were working with stalwarts like Aishwarya, Amitabh Bachchan ji and Shah Rukh Khan. So were you ever intimidated by them?
So there's two things here. One was, do you know that we trained for this film for at least a year? For 8 months, all we did, the three of us girls and us boys and the boys just were training, whether it was voice lessons or diction lessons, Hindi diction lessons, or dancing with the Farah. And for me, of course, my role was of a classical dancer, so I had to train in Kathak and Bharatnatyam as well. Every single day we were doing some form of acting. And we also train, of course, Adi made us rehearse different scenes from old films of his, from Dilwale, from different Yashji films, from different Hindi films even, So we did, we trained so much that on the day of the set, when we were on the set and shooting, everybody knew exactly what they had to do. So that helped us a lot in terms of being able to perform with somebody like a Shah Rukh Khan or a Mr. Amitabh Bachchan or even Aishwarya Rai. I mean, any one of them could intimidate you. But I have to tell you something about Mr. Amitabh Bachchan and also Shah Rukh Khan. They are so down to earth. I think they don't make one feel like one is a newcomer or one is not their friend. I think everybody, they're able to, this is a very rare quality to have, where you can make anybody feel instantly like your friend. Right. I mean, Shah Rukh would be sitting around on the sets, and he would be even sitting on the floor and chatting with a spot boy or a light man or something, and he would even make them feel special. So he has that quality where he makes everybody feel important and special. And Amitji is actually a very, very warm personality, very, very humorous personality. So, they made us feel very, very comfortable from the get-go. From the minute you meet them, you feel that you will be very odd and you won't be able to say your lines. But number one, you're very well trained because you know those lines. You know those lines so well. And number two, they themselves were so warm and welcoming. So all of this made it easier for us to act with them.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you have done some really successful work in regional cinema as well. But you did mention in one of your interviews 3 years ago that you felt that because there was nobody to guide you in that industry, you think that you could have made better choices otherwise. Because now we are talking about like nepotism and when people insiders get more chances than others. Did it ever happen with you that you were replaced in a movie or something of that sort?
Yeah, maybe once or twice it did happen. But I'll tell you, if you have the gumption and the thing that I will make it, and the attitude that you will be a go-getter, you will go and get your dreams. See, with me, I was not ever I had never struggled. There was never a struggling phase for me. Even when I was in Bombay, I was very comfortable. I was in my family, with my family. So there was no pressure for me to pay my rent or do that next film. And also, acting came suddenly to me. It was not my dream or my ambition also. So I think I was a little less ambitious and less of a go-getter than one should be. So I wouldn't say that the fault completely lies in, it's only nepotism and because I was not from a film family, that's why I didn't get the chances. No, in fact, I think the industry welcomed me with open arms. The modeling industry as well as the film industry. I didn't feel that nepotism. And I think for whatever reason it was, maybe I was not such a go-getter for those films, not happening.
Right. Everybody goes through like ups and downs, and just like that, even you faced a kind of lull in your career for a few years, right? So I want to know how did the perception of other people change towards you in those times when you were going through
I think it happens in any career.
Yeah, of course.
When you're on the top, everybody loves you, and when you're, you do face. I wouldn't say that it's not happened. Yes, it does happen when you're not flying high. Maybe you feel that the attitude of the people around you has changed. Maybe it's more to do with your own mental thoughts than with people around. But yes, it's the way of the world and it's the nature of the world, whether it's in Bollywood or Hollywood or anywhere else.
Yes, for sure.
That changed to you with success. So I didn't find anything. I don't find anything. And I like I said, luckily for me, these things have never been that important to me.
But do you remember an anecdote or something that kind of really hurt you? Because at the end, we all are humans, right? And it's kind of sad that sometimes we are treated because of because how we are doing in our career, right? Yeah, exactly. And I think, of course, it happens with everybody, but I guess it magnifies when you're a celebrity. Do you remember any anecdote where you were like, okay, this really hurt me?
I'm sure there must have been situations such as that, but nothing comes to mind right now. But I'm sure there must have been situations like that. And even especially when I was younger, things used to hurt me a lot more. And yes, I saw a very high level of success and then yes, a lull. But I don't know. I think I was just too happy in my own life to worry about these things so much.
And how did media's treatment towards you change? Because I'll tell you one thing, right? So I'm also a new journalist. Like it's just been a few years here, right? And when I was working and I went on the red carpets, things changed in a year. Like a person who gave a hit last year, media just ran towards them, and the next year, if their film didn't do well, they were like, let's just make this person go fast. And I thought that was so sad, because I think that's the meanest thing you can do to anybody, right? So I think
yes. Media can be very, very harsh, very very callous.
Hmm.
I can tell you one incident. I had just delivered my first baby. I have 2 boys now, and I may have put on I put on 25 kgs, but at that time I had I had lost some of that baby weight, and I went out for an event, and in fact it was not even an event, it was just a store opening for a friend. Right. And she had called a lot of media presence, so I went in and all the media was circled around me, and I was in the center, and the one journalist lady came, small girl actually, young girl, and she said, I have 2 questions for you, Preeti. Where have you been all this time, and why have you put on so much weight?
Oh God.
I was like, and it hit me like, that am I looking that fat or that bad? Is that what, is this what it, is this how I'm looking to people now? Just like a fat girl, because, I obviously, you've just delivered a baby, or you're already not very feeling great about yourself and things like that. So
yeah. Did you cry after that?
No, I didn't cry. Like I said, luckily for me, I forget things. Things, they hurt me at that time, but I managed to not let them affect my psyche too much. I think it just depends on your personality and how you can take it or how you can't.
Right. If you had
and support and family support, for sure.
Of course, that is very important.
I remember loving back ground. I think everything is easy.
Okay. If you had to relive a phase of your life, which phase would you choose to relive and why?
I guess it would have to be the time while we were shooting Mohabbatein. Because, it was really, our entire life was consumed by the film, and it was exciting. Every day we were learning something new. Every day we were doing something different. We were gaining new skills, and somebody was working so very hard on us. It was a whole team of people working hard on you. And it increases your confidence and your, and then we were a bunch of newcomers, and we were having a great time as well, shooting, and we were able to travel. We were able to see the beautiful, locales of Switzerland and Bath, and I think it was just a very exciting and period, because even the Yashraj films in general they make you like a part of their family. Even when you're traveling on an outdoor or something, it's very there's no pressure, and there's no nothing is hard. Everybody is like part of the family. No relationship is hard. No speaking to no one is hard. So it's a very cool and relaxed atmosphere, and I think that was the best period while we were shooting the film.
As you mentioned that you trained so hard before starting Mohabbatein, right? So it was like a school, right? But in those days, films didn't even have like a solid script. When you begin with such a school of acting where you have to prep for everything, did you kind of miss that experience on other films, and how did it impact you or your motivation?
Yes. I did see a lot of change in other films. There was where I was getting scenes and dialogues that day. And then even then, while I'm standing for the shot, the dialogues are being changed.
Oh my God.
From the level of preparation to an Adi and a Yashri, there were times when this was happening on other film sets. And yes, of course, South films, of course, were also a completely different ballgame where I didn't know the language at all. So yes, the experience was very different. There were other films who were very well prepared, other directors who were very well prepared, other directors who were very, who had worked and researched on their characters, and yet others who hadn't, done any homework at all. So it, there was a time, yes. It was different, but every film teaches you something new, and I think every experience is different. I wouldn't say that any was a bad experience. They were all different experiences which taught me and helped me to grow as an actor.
There have always been talks about the payments and like the checks and all these things that there's a payment disparity, which we all know. But did you ever go through a time where you did not receive your checks on time? And
Yeah,
that
that happened all the time at the time when I was in films. I think it was, now of course it's become a lot more structured, and I think with corporates coming in and all of that, it's become the whole payment system in and the Indian film industry in general has become a lot more structured with the contracts and everything, legality in place. At the time I was doing films, yes, there wasn't any contract you signed didn't mean anything. I mean, if the producer didn't want to give you a check, you wouldn't get the check. And you would
has there been
running.
any film that you wouldn't get paid for?
Not at all. I mean, there were many films that paid some and then disappeared and things like that. That has happened.
So basically, you got half, like less than half of the amount that was promised to you.
Yeah, maybe one or two films like that, but mostly not. Mostly I was paid fully.
And did you fight for it later? Because that was your right.
We did get into some legal, but then I don't know. I don't remember very well. It's a long time ago, so I don't remember very well whether I decided to just let go, because that is in my personality.
Right.
I may have decided to let it be. I don't want to fight anymore. I may have.
Cool. And what are you looking forward to in your life now?
I have too much to do right now. Like I said, I have two boys who have just started going to school. I have a whole company to look after. In fact, a couple of companies to look after. So along with the Pro Pancha League is just kind of taking off. So we're right now doing a lot of meetings, and a lot of collaborations are happening right now. In fact, right now as we speak. And we have, like I said, I'm producing my next film with a studio, and it's exciting times ahead for my company, and hopefully for everybody else asking me the question you started the interview with. Yes, I am looking at scripts and I am reading. It's not true that I'm not completely left that side of me. No, I haven't. I am looking at scripts and I'm reading, and hopefully I will be back soon.
More power to you, and I'm sure that your fans would love whatever you do, and you'll always be their little doll, very cute, innocent actress that they have always loved, right?
Thank you. Very sweet. Thanks.
Thank you so much for talking to us, and all the best.
Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you.